Welcome back to the Entrepreneurial SME. And if you just tuned in, we are zoning into the growing market for online tutoring services with Tskanani Marholeni, founder and CEO of Omega Academy. I may need some tutoring services on pronouncing some words, Tskanani. But why the hybrid? Why don't you just do online? It's 2024. Who wants to come to you and
Sure.
sit at home or in a coffee shop and talk to you?
I hear you. You'd be shocked, actually. This links back to the learning styles question you asked me, is that the students prefer different things. Some students online doesn't work for them.
Yeah.
Some students prefer you to literally hold their hand and be like, don't worry, it's okay. I've had students even cry. Some of them want to be hugged first. And you're like, okay, this is, it's different dynamics. Students have different needs. So in order to cater to those needs, we need to make sure that we have like a very diverse way of actually engaging with all of them to make sure we capture the whole market, but we also impact a great amount of students.
What has not worked?
Sure. So for the business, what hasn't worked was basically, I would say maybe just relying on walk-in students heavily, because students only catch up to the fact that they need help towards the end of the year when it's like final exams. So that's why we then introduced, working with institutions instead that are already backing students financially, because then we would then fall into the trap of the cyclical nature of the industry and the business itself. So that didn't work. And then what we decided was then, okay, let's reach out to the institutions that actually care about the students, crossing the stage and graduating and making it through, and make sure that we get those institutions to invest into their students, academics through additional support. Yeah.
What would you say to somebody who wants to do a similar business, get into tutoring? What should they look for in themselves to do this thing well? Because I don't suppose knowing a subject well is enough, right?
No, actually. And the funny thing is the whole concept, basically the concept of the business is setback.
Yeah.
All my setbacks are what make me stand out. Like I can tell a student that this is how I struggled and this is how I overcame.
I've been there. Yeah.
So there's this also relatability, there's this trust to say, if she could be set back this much, then I can also overcome this. Yeah. There's this joke I tell my students all the time. Like there was a time when my grades were like younger than me, and at the time, I was very young, it's varsity.
Yeah.
And I made it. Clean pass. I didn't have to struggle or stay behind a grade, and they laugh and then they're like, okay, how did you do it,
Because you got a tutor.
No, I didn't actually. I needed one.
Yes.
I needed one. And that's why we're here, so that we can help other students.
How do you scale up? It's a contact business, right?
Yeah.
It's very difficult to scale up contact businesses because you can't multiply yourself necessarily.
How do I scale up? I think scaling for us, and this is at the heart of any business, I believe. Yeah. If you ever open a business, you're not necessarily doing it for monetary purposes. It's always to impact the next person or the person you have as a client. So if you're going to scale, it means that you need to impact people in such a way that they trust you so much that they know that they can refer someone to you, or even, come back if they're doing something else. Because we don't just do undergrad and honors, we also do even post-grad, like business school students. So we've had people who, are continuing their studies who are like, I'd rather be with you guys than anyone else. And that's basically how we scale, is speaking to the human inside of them.
Quick answer.
Sure.
Has anybody who you've tutored failed?
They have, but you know how they've taken it? More positively, because now they had every other form of support that they needed. I'm gonna brag, we don't have a lot of those cases, but those who have, they took it really well. It's impressive because now you've worked on the person as a whole and not just as a student.
Then let's do our 30-second game. Have you ever thought of quitting?
Yes.
Why?
It was maybe mental things, like challenges as well. When you're having setbacks in your own career, sometimes you're like, how can I be the one to speak to people and encourage them, So a lot of that.
And now what keeps you going?
What keeps me going, funny, is the students themselves and my faith.
And what do you do for fun?
Sure, I like to cafe hop. I will go to a cafe and my favorite meal is an eggs Benedict.
Okay, and given a chance, would you do this again and again?
1,000 times over, I would.
Bubbly, coffee, tea, whiskey?
Bubbly. Maybe mimosa. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Akens.
Yeah. Naminan Kensili.
Tskanani Marholeni, thank you very much. And thank you for watching the Entrepreneurial SME. From me, Rams Mabote, good night and God bless.
Your trusted connectivity partner, Telkom Business.